Hello, welcome.
Hello, hello.
Welcome everybody to the Regen Network Community Dev Call for Wednesday, March 3rd. Excited to share updates. We're just having a lively conversation with the lead validators about the current phase 3 of the testnet and the march towards mainnet. I'll be sharing a brief little presentation as always. And then we will be opening it up to conversation. So just gonna kind of hang out here for just another moment while people hop in. Welcome, it's nice to see folks. And we will dive in. So I'm just gonna give just another minute for people to hop in before we leap away. And as always, we'll be trying to keep the overview to about 10 minutes so that we've got plenty of time for questions and answers. So thanks for hanging tight for just a moment. All right. Let's kick off. Right. Again, welcome to the Community Dev Update for the 3rd of March. We're in the final phase of our testnet coming up, so we'll have a couple of announcements about that. Hopefully, Anil will get to walk us through a little bit of the timing. We can do some question and answer about that. We're going to focus most of this call on testnet and mainnet launch preparations and conversations about that. If folks also have other more general questions, that's welcome. Although I think there's probably a lot of really fruitful conversation to have centered around our march towards mainnet launch. So just a quick sort of update. So we're in phase 3 of the testnet. People have been deploying test WASM contracts. Anil was sharing that he thinks that over 50 of them have been deployed. That's unconfirmed. But anyway, there's been some good activity there, pretty exciting. You can see the docs here. We're working on getting a little bit higher degree resolution on timing and tasks. So hang with us, and Anil will be able to verbally walk through some of that. We can have some question and answer. We're going to be performing a network upgrade shortly, and then running through testing of the groups module and the credit module. And just a reminder, testnet is the incentivized testnet is ending. It's coming right up on the end, ending March 8th. That is so that we can sort of complete scoring all of the participants, and there's going to be a pretty tight turnaround for all of the participants of the testnet to engage in both sort of address generation and getting their SAFT signed so that they can receive their rewards from the testnet. And I'll have Dan talk a little bit through that in just a moment. Anil, would you like to take a moment to just to walk through the rest of phase 3 until the end of the testnet and what you're thinking about tasks and dates right now?
Yes. So phase 2 started yesterday with the deployment of WASM smart contract, and yeah, today there is another task to deploy a custom smart contract. So people are deploying multi-sig smart contract today and tomorrow, and yeah, from tomorrow we will start testing groups module, and yeah, we will see if we can have a working IBC smart contract. That we cannot test fully, but we'll see if there is a possibility for that. We'll test internally, and then if that is available, we'll try to push it to the testnet. And over the weekend, maybe on Friday, we might have another upgrade to to test the upgrade path to 042. Yeah, so pretty much that's the plan, and it will end on Monday.
Great. And just taking a pause, does anybody in the community have questions or comments about the phase 3 and sort of the overview that Anil just laid out? We can circle back to this if you want to gather your thoughts. That's great. So now I want to zoom back out and just remind everybody, we're planning on launching, this is the first time this is publicly being talked about, but we're planning on launching Monday, March 29th. And feel like we're on track for that, which is very exciting. That means that there's going to be an action-packed March. And some of the most important stuff and deadlines, timelines are around validators getting their testnet rewards, and people who are contributors and community members generating their addresses, and us on our end assembling the Genesis file and then getting that out so that the community can test it and audit it, and we can launch this network together. So I'm going to hand it over to Dan to just talk through some of the most important dates over the next months and who they pertain to. And of course, we'll be doing our best to have clean announcements about all of this and just keeping everybody on track around that. But in the meantime, let's give everybody a summary of where we're at and what people can expect in the coming month.
Absolutely. Yeah. So basically what's going to be happening over the next couple of weeks is everybody's going to be receiving some emails, basically some readiness emails to get these SAFT agreements signed, along with wallet generation. So in order to receive your Regen tokens, you're going to actually need to generate a wallet with Kepler, using a special link that we'll be sending you in an email. So you'll have to there'll be instructions on how to do this, visual instructions, but you'll need a Kepler wallet. You'll need to, add an account, and then you'll need to actually connect to that wallet via a link inside of the page. With that, once you have it connected, we are actually going to need your wallet address registered. So you'll have to fill out a form. That'll also be on that page, and all of the instructions will be included in this email, along with extra instructions on how to go through this process, basically downloading and installing Kepler, adding an account, and then registering that. And then I believe that deadline will be the 18th of March, but please do it as soon as possible so we're not waiting for stragglers, and we can get that included into the Genesis file. The other very important email that you guys will be receiving, and you'll receive, I think, a couple of reminders over the next week, is the SAFT agreement. So be prepared next weekend, the weekend after, you'll be receiving an email from DocuSign that we will need you to sign. And then
just
please,
a quick pause. By
yeah.
you, because I think there's a mixed bag of people on the call. By you,
Okay, sure.
referring to people who are participating in the incentivized testnet.
Specifically for people who are, sorry about that. Specifically for people who are participating in the incentivized testnet, you will need to do both the wallet generation and then the signing of the agreement. So yeah, that'll be sent out to you. There'll be plenty of emails and warnings. I'll be posting it in the Discord. I'll be reaching out to everyone. So you should have plenty of time to do that. But yeah, if you could just get those signed as soon as possible and finish, then we'll be good to go for our Genesis file ceremony and Genesis testnet, which it's on St. Patrick's Day. So wear your green for luck. But beyond that, really, it's just getting ready for this mainnet launch. I know everybody's super excited for it. And if we can just do our part, getting everything prepared, then we'll be knocking it out of the park. That upgrade a couple of days ago over the weekend. That went fantastic. So I expect everything else to continue to go as fantastic as that did. So
awesome. Thank you. Okay. Any questions? Again, we'll be publishing sort of like a formal roadmap with all of the key dates that we've talked about, so everybody can keep track. All of this will also be going in the community calendar, right? So all of the deadlines are going to be there. So you will all have access to all that information. This is just the first time we're sort of verbally giving the summary. So quick pause. People have questions or comments out in the community about this sort of logistics of getting everything ready to assemble this Genesis file and move towards mainnet. Please feel free to either chat it or just turn your mic on and share your thoughts. Okay, moving along here. We wrapped up the private sale. Very excited about that. It went very well. We've sort of closed the door, but a few more people are moving through the final phases of the process, but we're not accepting new applicants for the private sale. So that's exciting. Moving in towards mainnet with a lot of momentum. As always, you can go check out the public Notion roadmap for up-to-date information about the progress of what's happening on the various different teams that make up Regen Network. Please feel free to hop over there and have a look. And as always, I was mentioning, we have this community calendar. You can click the link. We'll be publishing this, as we always do, sort of a public version of this slideshow. And so you can click on that and add it to your calendar, and we'll be updating it with all of the important dates so that you can keep on track. So thank you all for a great overview. Thanks, Dan and Anil, for helping walk through your respective parts. And I'll open it up to questions, comments, and conversation. I'm going to check the chat over here, which I actually couldn't see. So, oh, fantastic. I see 117 contracts were deployed. That's exciting. Nice work, everybody. Validator auditing. So Pato Git is asking about validator auditing. There's a larger conversation in the Cosmos community about sort of a I don't know, zero knowledge or confidential validator auditing system and reputation scoring system. That's a conversation that we're having as a broader community. And we may take some leadership in after mainnet launch. I can't say that there's like a hard or fixed date or process for that's yet been fixed. I would say that the particular sort of data structure and approach for verifiable claims that Regen Network uses to register claims, such as carbon credits, will actually be probably quite useful for this sort of thing. So yeah, we're also, as Dan is noting in the chat, we're going to be publishing sort of best practices for validators and a little bit of a pre-flight checklist for people to be thinking about your key management, just making sure that you're sort of checking all the boxes to sort of be on a premium validator level, so that if there was ever an audit process, you'd be one to pass. So hopefully there'll be a little bit of guidance coming out early next week as we wrap up the testnet, just so you can quickly learn from all of the stuff that's been going on in the testnet, assess your setup, assess your approach, think about key generation and your addresses, and you'll have several weeks to kind of think through and get everything ship shape as far as getting your validator set up. For those of you who are, this is sort of your first go at running a validator. And I also know there's many community members who are old hands at running validators. So hopefully you can all pitch in and help out people who are new as well. Yeah, so the DevNet for testing pre-mainnet. So yeah, we're going to have a. I'm actually calling it a testnet, devnet testnet. You know, maybe there's sort of like this line in the sand about which one is which. But we're going to be launching a Genesis testnet that is actually running the Genesis file. As soon as the Genesis file is completed, we would welcome everyone to participate in it. That gives us the opportunity to audit the Genesis file, to make comments, and essentially there's going to be a review process. We'll all be running it together for a little while until we proceed into testnet, and there'll be details about that getting published shortly. Anil, would you mind speaking to this question about it sounds, I don't know, Patrick, maybe you'd like to just verbalize your question. I'm not sure I totally understand your question about bonus for phase 3.
Hello, hello. There is a bonus task to create a custom, I don't remember what it's called, but a custom function, I think. And yesterday when I checked the pull requests, only 1 out of 14 people had submitted a hash saying that they'd done it. Now in the chat here, somebody says maybe it was a fake hash. Yeah, just that stood out as a thing that was the most tricky thing from the task so far. Also, I have another question, which is if I'm a validator for mainnet and I start with 1 key, that means I have to stick with that key as far as I understand. Or is there now a key rotation process in Cosmos so that if I start with a Ledger Nano, a hardware verification thing, then later I can switch to a YubiKey, or it's like once I'm in, it just has to stay that way?
Well, you can switch between a Ledger and a YubiKey if you have your mnemonic.
Yes, so on Cosmos, there is a proposal to add this key rekeying, so which will allow you to change public key and then use different consensus keys, but it's not ready yet. So it might come down the line, but for now, yeah, you can restore the keys in HSMs using mnemonics.
Yeah. So as Anil says, we are working as a community on rekeying and even some sort of finer granularity control over signing keys and other things, which is going to be very exciting and I think really useful for validators and other members of the ecosystem. Where Regen Ledger is not launching with that functionality, we will upgrade into that functionality. So we'll test it first, and then we'll go through a governance process and vote it on chain. So that's going to be down the road a little ways. But in the meantime, you can switch between a Ledger and an HSM device like YubiKey if you with your mnemonic. So you could start your validator using Ledger, for instance, and then shift over. You'd have some downtime, right, as you shift over. So you'd need to schedule that. But lots of people do schedule maintenance around for this sort of thing and just let everybody know, hey, my validator is going to be coming down, doing some maintenance, and then you hustle to get it changed over. Ledger's not mandatory. Artemis Cloud is asking, Ledger's not mandatory. We do highly recommend for validators to be using an HSM equally secure way of managing your private keys. Ledger is another option to have a hardware wallet connected. I know some people have done that, although I think most validators prefer a YubiKey setup, just because the devices are built for production instead of being built for sort of retail, just like low transaction volume. Again, we'll be publishing a little bit of a, I think the informal team is going to publish a little, just like validator, professional validator checklist and approach, and some links to docs, and maybe even running a video or two, so that in this interim period, the community can have some conversations. We all have a forum to have conversations about security and professional validator setups. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm pissed at Ledger too, but it doesn't change that it's a decent hardware device. Okay, cool. Well, let's see. Any other questions or comments?
I just wanted to mention, just kind of to the point, what I wrote here in chat. Yeah, sure. Ledger would be great. So just any kind of a hardware key obviously is going to benefit us over just using a software wallet. Now, the other thing that we are advising people in Regen is to use a device such as CryptoSteel to actually store your mnemonic. Like, don't, you can write it down on a piece of paper, sure, but even better would be to use a device such as CryptoSteel or something similar to it. They protect against fire. They are, convenient. They're not very big, but they're heavy, and they're really hard to destroy and hopefully hard to lose. So we would recommend our validators also use a device such as that. There's a few other ones. I know that CryptoSteel is currently on back order, so you may want to check out on Google and see what other ones there are. I found a list of like 4 different companies that are doing it. So yeah, please, for your mnemonic, if you lose that mnemonic, that spells disaster for you. So just make sure that you have it backed up on something secure like that.
Yeah. Hopefully most of the validators are already old hands at key management. And if not, this is the time to bone up on your key management practices. Cool. Well, yeah, we're gonna have a mainnet launch website up with like a countdown ticker and a couple other fun things here coming up. We're ending the incentivized testnet on Monday. There's it's action packed between now and then, so stay tuned to the validator announcement channel. Anil will be pushing shortly more detailed instructions around these final tasks that everybody's playing. Some of them may be hard, some of them may be easy. This is sort of the way that it goes. Be prepared for spam attacks. Anil, do you have any final words about this last phase that you'd like to share with folks?
Yeah, for these bonus challenges, there is still scope for getting those bonuses. Looks like no one has really made any custom contracts, and yeah, so there is some work around IBC as well. So if folks are interested, maybe they can try that out and then grab some big bonus for that.
Cool. I see at least one person on this call that has done some custom contract work. Hint, hint. So you might want to put that up on the blockchain. See if it works.
There's a bonus for the. I'm not seeing.
Yeah, there's bonus for putting up custom contracts and
okay.
testing them. Yeah.
Cool.
Fantastic. Well, with about 5 minutes to spare, I think we'll wrap up today's community dev call, unless there's any urgent. Oh, sorry. I see this is the second time you've asked this, Patrick. How will mainnet validators be chosen? So according to Tendermint consensus, the parameter we're launching with is that there'll be 50 validators that have active validator seats. So being an active validator simply means you are in the top 50 of the validator set with receiving delegations. That can be a self-delegation, that could be receiving delegation from people who have participated in the token sale, or R&D Incorporated or Regen Foundation. Regen Foundation and R&D Inc. will both be publishing their criteria for choosing, for delegating, right? And I think one of the biggest ways to ensure that you're, sort of seen and known by the community, and then therefore people will choose to delegate to you, is testnet and community participation, and just like letting everybody know, like, hey, I'm over here, here's my address, here's what I'm working on, and I think then delegations follow. It is a market mechanism, so it really is, the community is expressing their confidence that people are running a secure validator, and any of the other criteria that they may choose to, determine if they're going to make delegations. So there's no sort of like centralized planning. It's a market. It's a market for those seats, the validator seats.
Cool. And you mentioned if, for example, on mainnet, a validator needed a little bit of downtime to do maintenance, that could be announced. Would that be announced to the, like, somehow have a list of the people who have delegated to me if I'm that validator, or announce it on Discord, or?
We will have a verified, we'll shift and have a verified, there'll be a couple of different things that start to emerge in terms of communication channels. I've seen it work best that it gets announced to the public, like via Discord perhaps, just because people will be monitoring, and you'll be getting, like, more than anything, what I've seen happen in the larger Cosmos community is validators look out for each other a lot. And so you may get phone calls from 3 or 4 or 10 or 20 different people who say, I'm monitoring the network and your validator's down. What's going on? Did you realize it? Right. So that's part of it, is you just want to let everybody know I'm doing maintenance and my validator will be down. And also, of course, you want your delegators to know, like, hey, this is planned, and you want to judge the slashing window. There is enough of a window that usually people can come down, do maintenance, and get back up again before they start getting slashed. I've never seen it a problem for planned maintenance, right? Because there's quite a bit of leniency there for uptime. So yeah, that's kind of the idea there.
Great, thank you. Somebody asked, how long is that window?
Oh, Anil, do you remember the current, like, how many blocks you can miss before you start getting slashed? It's a parameter change, so we can change this via governance. We're going with the default settings on the Cosmos Hub. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, on Cosmos Hub, it is 10,000 blocks, I guess.
10,000 blocks.
50% of 10,000. That is like 5,000 blocks in 10,000 window.
Yeah. So if you don't, out of 10,000 blocks, if you miss 5,000, you'll start getting slashed.
So that's about 6 or 7 hours, I think, because the person had asked, how long is that?
Yeah. Yep. So if you take yourself down for an hour or two to do some maintenance, you'll be fine. Fantastic. Well, we're at the top of the hour. Nice to see some new folks. Nice to see old community members. And thanks everybody for joining us for the community dev call. Feel free to chat questions in Discord and engage there. And we'll see you all for the last little bit of the testnet and on the march towards mainnet. And we'll keep these weekly community calls going until probably well after mainnet, just to keep everything kind of coherent. So thanks everybody.